Well guys, that long delay is finally over, as I'm back to reacting to monster truck events, as we finally get to wrapping up watching the 2000 Monster Jam season with the finale, the championship, World Finals 1, as it's so nice to watch this event once again. I've been trying to do this for like the last few weeks, but something or other kept me from doing it, but I have time right now, before the Week 4 NFL Monday Night games, so I decided to get now done and over with. As this video, we're going to watch just racing, and in the next video, of course, we'll be watching freestyle, as after all the entire season we've watched, it's come down to this: the 16 best trucks of the season, although, like, what, 6 of them were voted on by fans, which I do not like, but still, a point stands nonetheless, as they are here to fight for the very first racing and freestyle title. As Tom Meents, of course, has so much momentum going to this event and is looking forward to getting all the titles. Dennis Anderson thankfully came back from his injuries, so it's nice to see him hopefully coming back and hopefully saving the season for how bad Gravedigger was in 2000. And a whole bunch of other trucks are here, of course, as well. This was actually the first time I've seen at least one of the trucks, which we'll get to a little bit later on. I remember seeing this event because it was pay-per-view, but it wasn't pay-per-view how we think of it, like how it was in World Finals 2 and 3, where it's actually live. No, it was tape delayed and aired pay-per-view the next day. That's not even pay-per-view. Oh my god, that's just so dumb. And unfortunately, some of the freestyles got taken out, but we'll get to that a little bit later on in the next video. Right now, we're focused on just racing. And of course, they never showed it, but there was qualifying like beforehand, like it was always for the World Finals, and Tom Meents, to no one's surprise, was the #1 qualifier. Easily gonna get that, as he is gunning for that first racing title. So yeah guys, let's get into this, shall we, as we're about to see the toughest track of the season, and at that point, might be like one of the toughest trucks for toughest tracks in Monster Truck history, not just Monster Jam. So here we go, as I believe this is like the VHS release afterwards, because I saw World Finals 1 on TNN when it aired. It was very soon after the event and all that. So here we go.
16 of the best monster trucks in the world are here.
Preview and freestyle, much to my annoyance.
Bigger and faster than anything they've ever been on before.
We've never been able to do it, man. Awesome. That's all I can say. Woo!
3 times as big as most of the tracks we have run.
Yeah, this track is huge by 2000 standards.
I'm here to stay.
I hate the spoilers for freestyle. Stop doing that.
We're gonna fire them up and keep everybody awake, no doubt.
It's a drag race. You'll see them get up to speeds of 60 miles an hour, which for a monster truck is like 200 miles an hour to a stock car.
Yeah, that's way too fast for trucks back then. Way, very fast. And the debut course, too, of Vegas-style racing, which would be the staple for the World Finals until freaking 2019. And they need to do it again, no exception. Always do Vegas-style racing in the World Finals, never anything else. As we are getting ready to go for World Finals 1. Over 10 contenders. Why did it say it's 16? They could simply have all this editing afterwards you could have done and be over with. And this is the first time, like I said, I've seen this. I think this is like the VHS release, like sometime later on. I saw it when my dad recorded it when it aired on TNN.
I'm Mike Hogwood, and working along with me, as always, Scott Douglas. Scott, you know, we talked to the drivers this afternoon. I have never seen a group of monster truck drivers as fired up and as serious as they are about what's going to happen here tonight.
Well, the focus of the World Finals, the absolute tension that is in the face of all these drivers is that...
Yeah, this is a tough track for all the drivers. They've never driven this track before. This is a tough track for the trucks, too, going up to like 70 miles an hour, which is speeds that trucks are not supposed to go up to, that like damages the trucks going that fast.
Or girl. Remember, Medusa's down there. But every one of them thinks this is the time that they rise to the top of the mountain in the greatest night in the history of this sport and walk out of here as the champion. I can't wait. This
2 titles, remember, racing and freestyle.
All right, as we said, we have 16 trucks.
And I wonder what kind of parking lot they did. I mean, parking they did back then with the looks like street right there behind the park, behind the pits. I've always wondered about that. So of course, here's the field. Charlie Pocket Nitro. He's back after driving or Minneapolis season over. Sky Hartley and Sting. Guy Woods back in Bulldozer. Rob Nell and NWO. Jim Kohler and Avenger. John Seasock and Sudden Impact. Dave Pizzo and Prowler. Of course, showing off stuff for freestyle. Scott Stevens and King Crunch, we haven't seen in a bit. Jim Jack and Reptoid.
Here's Jim Jack and the Reptoid.
And then Medusa, of course. And then Scott Hartog and Gunslinger, who's also gunning for that racing title take on Tom. Joe Cyper and Airborne Rangers here. Lyle Hancock and Wrenchhead. Only the second time we got to see him in that truck. Alan Pizzo and Predator. And of course, Tom Mintz and Goldberg dominating to go and get that race in their freestyle title. And finally, Dennis Anderson Gravedigger, for the first time in months, is back for racing. And by the way, this was the first event I ever saw King Crunch and Scott Stevens, since all events afterwards were afterwards when I saw them.
It started with a wonderful night in Atlanta when Bill Goldberg.
Yep, Tom just dominated all years. We saw he won like every racing event except for like 3 or 4.
In my collection.
And he's won. And last time we saw him, he doubled down in Pontiac, as he's ready to go, try and double down the championship. All year long, he's dominated the season. He's ready to go for one more go at 4 races to go through to win his first racing title.
Tom's the best out there. Tom is.
And of course, with him just being retired a few months ago, this is like rewatching his entire career again from the very start.
I bring to the ring. He brings
I miss him already. I still miss him so much. And of course, his infamous flip and save in Orlando. As racing is about to start soon, we're just seeing his incredible highlights throughout the year. Atlanta. Oh, that was so nice to see.
Not only am I the force, but Goldberg the truck is the force.
See that checkered flag on the back? That means that he has won the last time out. He wants to hang on to that checkered flag here tonight. Goldberg and
that is the pit party. Not pit party. The intro where the trucks come on the track before the event starts. So here we go. Racing's about to start. Tom Mintz and Goldberg getting ready to face on Charlie Pocket and Nitro. Only the second time we saw Charlie drive in Nitro, and we won't see him in the World Finals again until 2006 when he drove Monster Much. So he better make this count last.
You know the story of Goldberg. He is here to prove a point tonight. And that is Tom Mintz out of Atlanta, Georgia. It's a 2000 futuristic SUV. If you're wondering about what in the world is that truck. And what a big engine there, the 540 cubic inch Chevrolet.
You're getting ready to go.
There's the Goldberg machine, which we have seen so many.
Charlie, I have no idea how bad you had to have done qualifying to get this horrible matchup to start against Tom, because he is going to make you pain and suffer.
So I think it'll be
as we wait for him to get going. We wait all season for this. World Finals 1. It's about to come down to this.
We talk about the glitz and glamour of Las Vegas. The pyrotechnics are going off here, and they signal one thing: the beginning of the
here we go. Racing is now underway. Tom Mintz, Charlie Pocket to get things started. Back then it was just concrete back there, and here we go. World Finals 1 racing. Coming into Thunder Alley, first time ever. Tom with the lead. Of course, no one's surprised. Here we go into the turn as Pocket goes very wide. Tom did have the best turn, but of course he's going to easily get the win. Is anyone surprised? Easy victory as he's going to move on to round 2 now. And of course showing the highlights afterwards, which is really annoying when they do that. Yeah, he couldn't make the turn as he finally goes over the cars right there. He just did not make the turn at all. And back then, in World Finals 1 and 2, you had to make 2 turns in the final stretch. It was that wide you had to make 2 turns, so it was a little bit complicated. They fixed that in World Finals 3 where it was 1 turn.
Goldberg nailed it, and he's on to the second round for Tom Mintz.
And wait, looked like he had a pop tire there too. Alright, but anyways, Tom's moving on. Next up, Guy Wood and Bulldozer. We haven't seen him since what? Houston? Been a long time. He's going to have to face Alan Pizzo and Predator, who we last saw in Orlando, I think. As here we go. Interesting matchup. As here we go. In the turn. Guy Wood a little bit struggling to come out in Thunder Alley as Allen has the big lead. Here we go in the turn. A lot better turn. Oh, and Guy spun out. Oh, Allen struggled a little bit too. He is way... Oh, of course, I hate when they do this so much during the race too. As Allen's going to get the victory easily. Guy Wood going to cross over as Guy struggled in the turn. He kind of cut the turn, if anything. And Allen's going to get the easy victory. As, oh boy, he's going to have a tough time facing Tom, but he could provide the challenge. Alright, next up, John Cesar's Sun Impact. Saw him for the first time last time out in Pontiac. Here you see what he's got as he's going to go up against Lyle Hancock and Wrenchhead. Only the second time we're seeing him in the Wrenchhead truck. We saw him last time out in Jacksonville where he had a great event where he won freestyle too.
Hancock's a former team Gravedigger driver who got the opportunity to get on with a major sponsor and have his own team.
His only time too, Lyle driving Wrenchhead in the World Finals. We'll be seeing him in the next 3 World Finals though in Blue Thunder when we get around to those seasons.
They give us a little indication on how well Gunslinger will do later. This could be a good track for the Fords.
This could be an interesting matchup. Here we go. Wrenchhead and Sun Impact. Oh, Lyle struggled going into Thunder Alley. Oh, that's not good. But here we go. John with the lead, though. But here we go. Into the turn where it matters. As both trucks went way too wide to turn. You see, none of them can handle that turn very well. They're dead even almost, but it's going to be Lyle in the end that pulls through. With the big skyville as he loses the tailgate and then boom, smashes into the container right there. Lost the bumper and damaged the hood. What a wild finish. Oh, he broke the shock too. As you see right there, the one shock sticking out. Broke it from its housing area. What a run for Lyle, but that broken shock could cause problems. Thankfully, remember it's 16 trucks, so round 1's got a while to go still. Plus, he got one extra round 2 matchup to avoid 2 still. But yeah, back then too, the racing lane was shorter. No, it means look at the racing lane. Look how far out it is in the middle of the stadium. It's like literally in the middle of the stadium. So because of that, and this was the problem too in World Finals 2, trucks had very little time to stop in time before they hit stuff down there. That would be even more obvious next year when it was even worse. And then World Finals 3, they fixed it so it's not so far out. But yeah, you saw that's what happened to Lyle. Lost the bumper, lost the tailgate, damaged the hood, broke a shock, looked like, but he moves on right now. As now we got a big matchup. Rob Bell, NWO, getting ready to face Sky Hartley and Sting. This is the only time NWO compete here. This was its last event too. And this is the only time Rob Nell and Sky Hartley compete in the World Finals. We'll see Sting next year though. It's only last other appearance.
Has been one of the top shoes in this business for years. Got the opportunity. Again,
this could be a good race. We saw. Remember, Rob Nell won racing. Remember in
this one here, we know he's a good
freaking New Orleans. There we go. And he did make the finals, remember, in Atlanta, so he could be a good racer. Another good race we can have. Whoever wins will face Lyle in round 2 if he's able to come back, of course. All right, here we go. Rob Nell, Sky Hartley, ready to go. And by the way, guys, this was the very first race I saw in the World Finals because my dad didn't film the first 3 races. So this was my very first World Finals action right here. As Rob Nell looked like struggle going to Thunder Alley, but they're dead even. Alright, here we go. In turn. Ooh, Sky a little wobbly right there. And Rob Nell goes very wide. Horrible turn he had there. And Sky Hartley is going to easily get the victory as he moves on to round 2. As the body got damaged right there, as you can see. Damaged the body on Landon as he moves on to round 2. Terrible race there for Rob Nell. You would have thought he would do so good after he was doing so good in racing throughout the year, but not this time, as he went way too wide. As the trucks, remember, were not used to, the drivers were not used to this kind of track back then. Other than, of course, Tom. But yeah, you saw the back part of the body broke, and the cab part also snapped off too, which, by the way, we'll see something funny about that when we get to freestyle next time out.
Oh, yeah, now there's a ride.
Alright, so here we go, our next matchup. Joe Cyper and Airborne Ranger in his only World Finals appearance, getting ready to face the rookie, Medusa, in the first of her many championship World Finals appearances.
The Airborne Ranger, Joe Cyper out of Reno, Nevada.
He is a former Army Ranger.
Of course, last time we saw Airborne Ranger, Joe won freestyle in Anaheim. We saw Medusa in the last 2 events. She had good freestyles, but didn't have much success in racing, so here we go. Really slow coming out of Thunder Alley. And Joe has the lead. But you see right there, he's wobbly, and he spins out into the wall. Damages the front end as Medusa's okay, and she is going to get our first televised win in her career that we know of. As Medusa moves on, and unfortunately for Joe, the truck was broken, so he will not come back to freestyle. So that's the only time we'll see Joe in the World Finals, unfortunately, competing. Alright, and how about this matchup? Almost Florida teammates go after each other. Scott Hartsock and Gunslinger going up against Jim Jack and Reptoid in Jim's only World Finals appearance, too. Of course, Scott is the second best favorite to win racing. Only real threat to Tom out there, and we're going to see what he's got. But first things first, he's got to go up to Jim first. And of course, whoever wins will face Medusa in round 2, so this could be an easy semifinals appearance if they can get past this matchup right here.
He thinks it's going to be his night to repeat. A lot of protection, a lot of safety. Very seldom do you ever see a monster truck driver getting hurt. Very safe in these machines. Well, they certainly are. And
lights lit up for Reptoid. And here we go. Gunslinger and Reptoid.
And for the fans who follow us. Now here they come.
And here we go. Down Thunder Alley. As Scott Hartsock, of course, with the gigantic lead, no one should be surprised. Here we go into the turn. A little wide for Jim. He had a better turn. Oh, Scott, a little squirrely right there. Scott Hartsock's going to get the victory, but he wobbled a little bit right there. That's going to cost him later on if he does that again. Jim did not have that bad of a pass, but you're going to need to do a lot more than that if you want to take on like Scott Hartsock or Tom Meents. They're just going to be unstoppable tonight. And Scott Hartsock, of course, moving on as he'll face Medusa in round 2. As 2 races left of round 1. Alright, next up, I see Jim Cole over there in Avenger, getting ready to face Scott Stevens in King Crunch. As, like I said earlier, this was the first time I ever saw King Crunch, ever. First time I got to see the truck. So it was really cool seeing, yay, a new truck! Can't wait to see what it does! And Scott Stevens is probably the other favorite out here. Like, the favorites in this event were probably Tom, Scott, Lyle, and Scott. I mean, Scott Stevens. And if Dennis actually showed up, maybe he could be a favorite, but after not driving for like over a month, I don't think anyone probably took him that much seriously tonight. As here we go, Avenger and King Crunch. And Jim struggling coming out of Thunder Alley as he's behind by quite a lot. And here we go into turn. Scott Stevens very wide. Thankfully for him, it was facing Jim Cole, so it's not going to matter much as he's going to win and move on to round 2. That was an easy victory, but he kind of struggled a little bit in this final turn. You can't have that when you face other drivers later on. You got to be perfectly smooth. Alright, here we go. Our final matchup of round 1. Dennis Anderson and Gravedigger. The first time we're seeing him in over a month since we last saw him in New Orleans, I think. Oh boy, can't wait to see how he does after his injury that cost him the rest of the season. As he has to face Dave Pizzo and Prowler. The only time we'll see him and Prowler in the World Finals. Oh yeah, the only time we saw Scott Stevens in the World Finals here as well. So alright, so here we are. I'm assuming Dennis got the number 2 qualifier if they do in the exact order as how we do a 16 truck bracket, because I totally doubt Prowler got number 2 qualifier. Alright. You would think Dennis has the edge, but remember, he hasn't driven over a month, and we saw him struggle before, so this could be an upset potentially, but we can't wait to see what happens. Our final race of round 1, Prowler and Gravedigger. Alright, and here we go, the final race of round 1. Gravedigger and Prowler. Dennis a little wide into the turn, but coming out perfect speed. Bad camera view because we don't see Prowler. Terrible, terrible, terrible view. And spun out for Prowler. Oh, that was a bad turn right there. Dennis gets the easy win, but man, that race sucked because we didn't see what happened with Prowler. Like, did Dennis have like a big lead? Was Prowler in the lead? Were they tied? Like, we don't know. All we see is Prowler in the turn and spinning out. That was just a terrible race in terms of camera angles. But Dennis in his first race back has gotten a win. How about that? He moves on to round 2. Alright, so round 2 is now set. It'll be Tom Meents and Goldberg versus Alan Pizzo and Predator. Then it'll be Lyle Hancock and Wrenchhead versus Sky Hartley and Sting. Medusa versus Scott Hartsock and Gunslinger. And then Scott Stevens and King Crunch versus Dennis Anderson and Gravedigger.
and he's got plenty of momentum.
All of them, but maybe Medusa and Gunslinger are really good matchups.
As good as we have seen Dennis Anderson look in the year 2000.
I see Dan Moriarty's caught up with
So let's see what Dennis has to say after that race.
Under your belt, do you feel differently than you felt 30 seconds ago, a minute ago?
Oh yeah, you know, your first run up, you're always a little nervous. If you can pull off the win the first round, you
Oh
feel a
yeah,
little confident.
because I was looking up pictures on the Monster Truck Wiki for freestyle. Dennis actually flipped in qualifying too in one of the pictures. So yeah, you know he struggled a lot on this track in this event, but he got the win right now, and that's all that matters for
I
him.
think we're alternating lanes, and I'm gonna have to go to this other to the left-hand lane. I'm just gonna have to ease through it, drive it the best that I can, because I overdrove in practice a couple times, but we'll get it pulled off.
16 trucks begin. There's 8 trucks left. Dennis, keep on going. Mike and Scott, back to you.
Round 2, Monster Truck Racing in the WrenchHead.com World Finals. There is Goldberg.
So here we go, getting ready for round 2. Tom Ensign Goldberg going up against Alan Pizzo and Predator. Alan can provide a challenge, but he's got to do a lot of work because Tom, remember, is almost impossible to beat this season. The 2 drivers left that actually can give Tom a legitimate challenge are still there, though, Lyle and Scott Hartsock.
That should be a dandy matchup. All 4 of these races, though, are the quality that you expect here at the WrenchHead.com World Finals. Well,
You see Alan getting ready to go. As here we go, Alan Pizzo and Tom Mentz getting ready to go. This would be one hell of an upset if Alan can get it here.
And the WCW Nitro machine. Predator got here by beating Bulldozer, and of course, Guywood and Bulldozer always a top contender.
All right, here we go. Round 2 underway. Tom Mentz, Alan Pizzo. As Tom with the big lead, of course. And then, of course, Predator spins out and hits the wall, almost the exact spot where Joe Cyper did. And Tom will get, once again, another easy victory, as he's done throughout most of the season, as he moves on to the semifinals. Easy victory. Now, thankfully, unlike Joe Cyper, Predator does come back as he drives off on its own. It wasn't damaged like Airborne Ranger was, thankfully.
Sensational run for somebody to knock him off. He can be beat, but it's going to take a brilliant run or a Goldberg mistake. We'll see how the rest of the night unfolds.
Let's go on board. And the
Yeah, that's the only way you're going to be able to beat Tom is either he screws up or you put up like an unbelievable pass.
We talked earlier, you called it like NASCAR racing for these guys. Well, this is their super speedway racing. Look at him work that wheel. Now he's got to get that rear steer. That's why that hand goes down on the toggle switch to turn the rear wheels. And he knows
and again,
that's when you see
he's the GOAT.
that #1
And he needs to be in the fucking Hall of Fame.
Next up,
So, all right, here we go. Our next matchup. Sting and Wrenchhead getting ready to go. You see, Wrenchhead's damaged from its crash in round 1, but still ready to go. They got the shock fixed and everything. And remember, Sting's damaged too from its body from its last race. But here we go. Who will face Tom in the semifinals? Here we go. Sky Hartley and Lyle. And Sting a little behind there, but hanging in there. Here we go. In the final turn. Sting had a better turn, but he's going to spin out. Oh, spine right there as Lyle will get the easy victory. As that hood is loose, as you can see. And there it goes. He runs it over. Beautiful sight. And if anything, this is better for him because, remember, drivers back then, and still this day really, don't see well with like the body in there. Especially trucks like, God forbid, like Monster Mud. The old Monster Mud was very difficult to look at. That makes it a lot easier for the drivers if there's no hood there to see. So that could give Lyle maybe an advantage potentially. As he moves on to the semifinals to face Tom. And spoiler, a preview of World Finals 2 finals. So get ready for that next year when they face in the finals. Alright, so now the second half of round 2 ready to go. You see Wrenchhead parking down there in the corner. As Gunslinger and Medusa getting ready to go. I wouldn't say Medusa's the big board yet. That's a way too early. She's like the least experienced and skilled of all the drivers left in round 2 so far. But let's see what she's got, as we saw her just get her first racing win on TV that we know of. But she's going to go up against like the second best racer in the league this year. Gunslinger. As here we go. And Medusa had a terrible start right there. It's like sputtered. Yeah, she is. Ugh, terrible pass coming out of Thunder Rally. As she is way, way, way behind, as you can see. Scott Hartsock did not have a good pass here, but it's not going to matter because it's going to be an easy victory for him. But yeah, if you want to face Tom, and of course potentially Dennis Anderson or Scott Stevens come up, you got to do better turns than that, Scott. You got to do better than that in the turn. They will cook you if you do that bad in the turn. Alright, semifinals. Oh, that's right, one more race of round 2. As Scott Hartsock moves on, now he waits for his next opponent. Probably the biggest match of round 2. Dennis Anderson, Scott Stevens, getting ready to go. These two, remember, raced each other in San Antonio, and Dennis lost, straight up got beaten, and then he got like the penalty, and then he had that terrible landing, and it kept Gray Digger from competing in the rest of the event. We'll see what he's got, as he's got to face Scott Stevens. Tom Meents, and then Scott Hartsock, and then like Scott Stevens and Lyle were like the next best racers of the season that we know of. Like they're in that tier list. Dennis got a big target on his back. He wants to move on to the semifinals. Here we go. Gravedigger and King Crunch, a classic rivalry. As here we go. Dennis coming out of Thunder Alley. He's behind though. But here we go. Into the turn. Scott Stevens went really wide, but he had a much sharper turn. He has a speed advantage. And here we go for the final jump. And it's going to be King Crunch with the victory. Knocks off Gravedigger. Pulled off in the end with a photo finish race at the speed. And then going to slide out into the trees right there. Hit that staircase. And there we go. What a finish that was as Scott Stevens moves on. The first close race of the night as Scott Stevens moves on and once again beats Gravedigger. And it looked like there was some tire damage right there. King Crunch you saw. That didn't look good.
Actually came out on top. And I haven't heard the USHRA officials call it yet either. Let's get a look. They come into the turn. Now at this point Digger was behind. He turns
Dennis had the better turn, but he slowed down a lot. Scott Stevens had the more speed, and that helped Scott beat him in the end.
I think it's King Crunch.
It's obviously King Crunch. That was so obvious.
From that angle, it looked like King Crunch. Now we're going to have to wait for the official call. Our competition director, Mike McFarland.
Like, come on, that was so obvious. There was no penalties or anything. It was obvious King Crunch crossed first.
See if we can make that call. As you see, yeah, that he had so much momentum up, and that was the key, as you said, Scott. Here, let's look at it again. There's the finish. Yeah, I think it's King Crunch.
Boy, it sure does look like it from that angle.
Right there.
Got it.
How? Like, this has always bugged me back then. Why are they putting like so much, like trying to figure this out? It was so obvious that Scott Stevens beat Dennis. There was no penalties. He was like a whole half truck length ahead or whatever. It was so obvious. Unless they're not looking from that angle, but like that from that angle, it was very obvious. All right, here we go. The semifinals, the 4 best racers of the 2000 Monster Jam season are all here fighting for that final spot. As here we go, the big matchup. Tom Meents going up against Lyle Hancock in a preview of the finals next year. And remember, Lyle has the hood off. That could help him. And he had the whole shot right there. Oh, Tom struggled right there. Lyle with the whole shot. Can he take advantage of that? Here we go to the final turn. Oh, but Tom getting dominant despite the slow start right there. Oh my God, how does he always do that? And he is going to get the easy victory. How does Tom always do it? Just like he would do like in, what was it, World Finals 11 where he pulled that incredible comeback from behind against, what was it, Damon? And then 2012 we pulled that comeback against Adam in, what, semifinals was it? I don't know how he always does it, but he does it again. He sputtered. We all saw it. Lyle had the whole shot, and not only was Tom in the lead, he was blowing out coming out of Thunder Alley. Like, how does he do it? Oh my goodness. Tom is just so dominant as he is in the finals.
I cannot wait.
Like I said, no one can really challenge him except the best, and even they have trouble sometimes. Even when Tom struggled, he still pulls it off in the end, as he is in the finals. And now, of course, who will he face? Scott Hartsock, his arch rival, like the only driver that straight up beat him in the season. Or will he face Scott Stevens in King Crunch? These two, remember, raced in Anaheim. Not Anaheim, San Antonio. And Scott Stevens broke big time in that race. Here we go. Into the final turn. Well, not final turn. Coming out Thunder Alley. Scott has the lead.
Something's wrong with King Crunch.
Here we go.
Some smoke coming out of the motor.
And bad turn right there for Scott. Both of them had terrible turns. King Crunch going to spin out, and Scott Hartsock's going to get the easy victory. Every one of them had easy victories. Scott Stevens had to earn his last victory against Gravedigger, but that is it for King Crunch. It's spun out right there. And unfortunately, that is the last time we're going to see King Crunch this event, as they could not come back for freestyle. That's the last time we'll see Scott Stevens in the World Finals, and we won't see King Crunch again until 2004. So how about that? It's the final set. I'm sure going to this event, everyone was probably expecting. The arch rivalry of 2000 at its peak, ready to go. Scott Hartsock and Gunslinger, Tom Meents and Goldberg. These two is about to fight for the very first racing title. Who will be the racing champion of 2000?
But at the end of the day, it's been great racing all night.
What a dominant year for Tom Meents, make it this far, and of course beat Charlie Paulk and Nitro in round 1, Alan Pizzo and Predator in round 2, Lyle Hancock and Wrenchhead in the semifinals, and then Scott Hartsock. What a dominant year he's had.
The 2 nights he was here, he's run more tonight than the past 2 days. Have you learned anything different about the track?
Yeah, it's fast. It's real fast. Them wrench head alleys, man, I tell you what, we're turning this big old Ford motor about 7,500.
You need to do better in turns, though, Scott, if you want to have a chance to take down Tom.
I mean, that thing's literally flying down there. You get down there and look in those corners, you can see it looks like a dirt track car's been there, leaving black tire marks going around those corners. You know, we're getting down there, locking it up, getting on the throttle so hard, they're spinning a little bit, leaving rubber on the ground.
The only one to beat Goldberg all year is Gunslinger. It couldn't be a
no. Others beaten Tom before this year. It's not something new or anything. Tom's lost to people besides Scott Hartsock. But here we go. The finals, like I said earlier. Scott Hartsock made here by beating Jim Jack in Rep Twin round 1, Medusa in round 2, and then Scott Stevens and King Crunch in the finals. It's coming down to this. One of these two is going to win the very first racing title. Who will be the 2000 Monster Jam Racing Champion? The best racer in the world. As here we go, Scott Hartsock and Tom Meents going at it one more time to wrap up the season. Coming out of Thunder Alley, Tom has a big lead after being tied coming out of Thunder Alley. Here we go, into turn, a dominant turn for Tom, a terrible turn for Scott Hartsock, like I told you all, and Tom Meents is going to get it. Tom Meents is the 2000 Monster Jam Racing Champion. No one surprised, as he dominated all year, he dominated all night, he cooked all the best racers he faced. No effort as he dominates the racing win, as that Scott Hartsock finally got himself straightened out. He got a dumb wheelie right there, and that's going to hurt a little bit as he tapped the dumpster a little bit right there, but no damage, unlike, next year. Oh, man. But Tom Meents is your racing champion. The beginning of one of the longest streaks in Monster Jam World Finals history, where he went 13-0 before he suffered his first loss. And you saw those first 4 wins tonight. Scott Hartsock, of course, blew it in the final turn where he had that terrible turn. Like I told you all, like Tom was like the only one tonight that dominated that turn. Everyone else, even the best, were struggling. No one was able to do a turn like Tom did. Even Tom struggled a little bit right there. If anything, he's lucky Scott Hartsock did not have a good turn right there. If Scott Hartsock had a good turn, he could have maybe cooked Tom right there, but luckily for Tom, Scott Hartsock, you saw, had a terrible turn, and that cost him. Easy victory, as he has the first title locked up. There's only one thing left now, and that, of course, is freestyle, as he wants to get title number 2.
Because he had the steering problem, so he had to beat him down to the wrench head alley, get the turn, and there you go. The rest was history. Like Tom said,
Oh man, what racing action this was!
Well, guys, we're watching the replay that you were just watching, and Tom's sitting here saying, well, the rear steer, it was manual, but what the heck, I had to go fast anyways and win this thing. What did you do to hold it together?
I don't know, Ben. I tell you, I just give it all it had. I mean, why let out now? It's what we wanted all year. Let's just put the cap on it right here. I mean, oh man, awesome feeling. So many people back home, and Bill Goldberg and Team Goldberg, all the way, man. Everybody, this is out to everybody, not just me.
You came to that pace straight away. And that's the fastest you've been going all night. We've caught you at 55 in the past. I'm telling you, you were going faster than that. But when you're going that quick down the straightaway, going to that hairpin turn, how do you know without a rear steer, you can turn it around and keep it out of the going in the stands?
I don't know. I tell you what, it's been a lot to the brakes. The brakes worked good all night, but we never been able to do it, man. Awesome. That's all I can say. Woo!
Classic
Let
Tom.
me tell you guys, that checkered flag is staying there the rest of the season. The World Championship, that's his. What else can you say?
The fireworks are going off, signaling that we are getting close to the end of the Bridgehead.com World Finals here in Las Vegas. What a night it has been.
Well, racing.
Congratulations to
Still got
Goldberg.
freestyle. So Tom Meents, of course, clinched the racing title. But we still got freestyle to go still.
In a man's business.
Pause that. So yeah, guys, what a dominant first ever World Finals racing that was. Tom Meents dominating, getting his first racing title, the first of many to come up. What a dominant night it was. And now, we got freestyle come up on this tough track. I hope you're all looking forward to this because we're going to see some wild freestyle action. So see you all next time for World Finals 1 Freestyle.